Hello, good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Perhaps, Marcos, would you like to start to explain the translation?
Yeah, of course. But first, say the recording because we are recording,
okay.
because I don't know why, but we are recording. So please, first of all, say that about recording the meeting. And after I speak about the subtitles. Thank you.
Well, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar on empowering communities, leveraging heritage for disaster risk reduction. My name is Nike Fakiner. I'm project coordinator at VOLIES, and I will be your moderator for the session. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that we plan to record this webinar. So your participation in the session implies your consent to be recorded. However, if anyone has any concerns or prefer not to be recorded, please let us know or feel free to reach out to us privately via the chat function. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Rosa and all the friends from the Resilient Project and VOLIES ecosystem too. And just now I want to send a message for the Spanish speakers from Latam and from Spain and in Spanish. Podéis encontrar los subtítulos en castellano, en español, de manera muy sencilla. Simplemente activáis en los 3 puntos de la parte superior, cerca a la derecha, la idioma y voz, y ahí podéis activar los subtítulos. En esta edición, por ser este tipo de webinar y Teams Premium, podemos obtener la traducción a cualquier idioma, o al menos al español o a cualquier otro también de los más comunes. Una vez que activéis los subtítulos, vais a la tuerquita en la parte derecha y ahí podéis elegir el idioma de los subtítulos. Tendrás que, normalmente te saldrá el idioma hablado, el inglés, aunque ahora sea el español, y el idioma de los subtítulos en español. Y así podrás recibir el seminario, que es en inglés, lo podrás leer en subtítulos en castellano. Si tenéis cualquier duda para la parte técnica, pues encantado de ayudaros. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today. Before we are privileged to have an esteemed panel of experts with us today who will share their insights and delve into how communities can use their unique heritage assets to build resilience against disasters and foster sustainable development. Before we begin, allow me to introduce our distinguished speakers briefly. First, we will have Irina Pavlova, who is Senior Project Officer at UNESCO's Natural Science Sector. She is a specialist in environmental sciences, climate change and natural hazards, and her scientific background is based on the experience at the Russian Academy of Science, Moscow, Russia, and the National Center of Scientific Research, France. And through their over 13 years of professional experience, she has been involved in and managed several international multidisciplinary projects on the topic in different parts of the world. So today, Irina will be presenting on building global resilience through heritage. And next, we are honored to have Rosa Tamborrino, who is full professor in architectural history at the University Politecnico di Torino, POLITO, and she's also coordinator of Resiliage, a 3-year Horizon Europe project that aims to build sustainable, resilient communities with local heritage drivers. Her research explores the connection between urban and environmental history and cultural heritage, landscapes and memories, as well as the uses of digital technology for promoting culture. Rosa is also author of over 100 publications on the topic, and in addition, she also serves as president of the Italian Association of Urban History, as member of the scientific committee of Musée d'Histoire et de Société de la Ville de Lyon. She's also member of City History Museum and Research Network of Europe, just to name a few important aspects. And today, Rosa will be presenting on the Resiliage project. So we are very grateful to have such distinguished lineup of speakers, and I'm confident that their presentations will be both informative and inspiring. Before we begin, I would like also remind everyone that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentations. So please feel free to submit your questions and use the chat function throughout the webinar, and we will address as many of them as possible at the end. And without further ado, let's start our webinar. And Irina, the floor is yours.
Greetings from hot Bulgaria, where I'm teleworking today. Thank you, Niki, for the introduction. And I'm sharing my screen. And meanwhile, thank you very much, dear audience, for the interest in this webinar. In our professional life, we are all working with communities closely, and we are all searching on ways on how to empower these communities. So what is empower? It's about to enhance capacities of the communities to influence their own lives and the environment that surrounds them. So today, of course, we'll be reflecting on a specific topic. So today we're reflecting on how to empower communities by leveraging on communities' heritage. So first, let's give a thought about the role of heritage in the community life. So
sorry, Irina,
heritage...
we are in the first slide. I don't know if it's okay.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I think
it's
that is
not
okay.
okay. Yes, yeah. How is it now?
The first
Thank
one.
you for
so
telling me.
I think that it's not working the full screen, so maybe
it's not
we are
working
see the yeah now
oh,
yes, it's okay. We can see, so it's working now. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Marcos. So what's heritage? So, well, we can say that heritage is our legacy from the past that we live with today and what we pass on future generations. Our cultural and natural heritage are both irreplaceable sources of life and inspiration. Just let's think for a second think of a place where you live or a place that is dear to your heart. What image do you have? Like, I was living for the last 15 years in Paris, and I will not be very unique by saying that thinking of Paris, I will think about Eiffel Tower or the Cathedral of Notre Dame de Paris. Images that represent the authenticity of a place are not specifically linked to a tangible heritage, to a monument. It could be associated also to intangible heritage. Some practices, festivals, coming back to Paris, I'm thinking about some gastronomic variety, for example. Also, the sense of belonging, it spreads as well on natural heritage, of course. It's nature where we feel our roots, where we resource ourselves, and we even attribute ourselves to certain ecosystems. And this sense of belonging brings a sense of joy, of proud, belonging to a crowd of people that shares similar memories and emotions. But when disaster strikes, of course, it's hard. Disasters, they come with losses, with damages, with traumas. And of course, in terms of damages, everything is important. In particular, damage of critical infrastructure, of hospitals, of roads being blocked. But what impact may the damage or even destruction of heritage site have? Like here, I'm again referring to Paris, and in 2019, there were the Cathedral of Notre Dame de Paris was on fire. back time, I received calls from all over the world from my friends. This event was shocking. It was turbulent. It was turbulating stability, not only of Parisians, not only of French or Europeans, but really all over around the world. So you understand my point that culture is a critical element in crisis, during disasters, conflicts, and of course, well, climate change impacts. So what can we do to protect the heritage? From UNESCO perspective, we talk about three elements approach to protect heritage and foster creativity. So it's through advocacy, policies, and raising awareness. First, let's give a short snapshot on policy aspects. So here I'm referring to international community who adopted in 2025, along with another post-15 agenda on sustainable development, the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. This framework aims to reduce risks, and it's for the first time that in such framework, there was a reference to heritage protection. So this means that at national level, governance will have to think of the way how to integrate heritage protection into their disaster risk management system. Actually, the idea of heritage protection by international community dates back to 60s. You might know the story of Nubian monuments in Egypt. So back in 2060s, Egyptian government has a choice for the construction, well, had to make a hard choice for the construction of a high dam at the Nile River due to an economical situation. And at the same time, government was aware about the value of Nubian monuments and temples. And for the first time, there was a call to other governments from other countries for solutions and fundraising to safeguard these precious monuments. So this effort highlighted cultural heritage as a shared global asset and led to the organization of the establishment of UNESCO Convention on Protection of World Heritage, Cultural and Natural Heritage. The NUPIA started a list of World Heritage properties. So all these sites, they have outstanding universal value, meeting at least one of 10 selection criteria. So the concept, it dates back to 2070s, and the core mandate back in time, it was to protect these sites. So meaning that obligations of member states were about nature conservation and preservation of cultural sites. Almost in parallel, another international network of UNESCO-led programs was born. It's a Man and Biosphere program with its world network of biosphere reserves. So these sites are designated for their outstanding biodiversity from one side, but also it explores relationships between people and their environment. Since its establishment, the network develops and strengthens models for sustainable development. To complete the overview, UNESCO holds the Secretariat of UNESCO Global Geoparks. These sites with outstanding geology, but are also based on the concept of holistic approach for protection, education, and sustainable development. So these very unique territories all over the world, there are more than 2,000 sites, represent living labs where communities are taking an active part in its territorial development and influencing their own lives, communities' lives, and their environment. So those contributing, of course, to building the resilient communities. In time of crisis, heritage is not a passive element that needs to be protected. It should not be considered as that. We see it, heritage as a driver, forcing the building community resilience. And forms of this contribution are multiple, starting from heritage being safe meeting places during emergencies, or, for example, value of intangible heritage for healing during post-trauma period. Another beautiful way is when site managers of the sites are actively contributing to community activities and are themselves community leaders. Here we are in Mexico and Comarca Minera, UNESCO Global Geoparks, and site managers have geological background and they're leading multiple educational and awareness activities, organizing trainings, lectures, exhibitions for communities and for tourists. Finally, heritage, with its artistic expressions, heritage are ways to convey powerful messages and interact with vulnerable people. So my presentation actually is an invitation to think of heritage and how it's important to empower communities in times of crisis. So the next question is, how do we do this? How do we take into account these multiple aspects and bring the dialogue communities from different worlds, from heritage and from disaster risk reduction? How do we involve first responders, how we keep them engaged, how we keep engaged communities? So we've been questioning ourselves, and this is the reason why we are partnering in Resiliage project that aim to create and to test methodologies and tools, highlighting the role of local heritage and disaster risk management. With that, I'll stop and give it back to Nike. And I'm looking forward for Rosa's presentation about details of Resiliage project. Thank you.
Thank you for such an inspiring conference, Irina. It was great. I would like now to give the word to our next speaker, Rosa. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nike. Thank you, Irina, for your presentation. That it was very inspiring, also for introducing our project. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. My speech, I will focus on empowering communities by leveraging heritage for disaster risk reduction as the coordinator of the Resiliage project. I will try to share the screen now. And yes, I think, is it working?
Working,
welcome.
Perfect.
Thank you. Welcome to Resiliage. This is our website. I invite you to visit it. Our project is clearly established to create this important connection and conceptualization among resilience, community resilience, and heritage, cultural heritage, because the title of our project is Advancing Holistic Understanding of Community Resilience and Heritage Drivers through Community-Based Methodologies. So we focus in our project in tools and activities with the objectives of creating this important connection between community resilience and heritage drivers. The project, in short, we can imagine that the word resiliage is created by contracting the word resilience and heritage. but creating a community resilience is something quite challenging, and we think that is a challenge that we can achieve by working together in a large group of our research project for creating the knowledge about how to increase, how to improve preparedness in among the all in all population, community, society, in order to improve preparedness against disasters. So this is the claim of our project, that is revolutionizing community resilience. This is an ambitious statement and a big net. So my speech aims to be an introduction to our project, to try to translate some important aspects and characterization of our activities that are more rich than what I will explain, but I won't reveal our findings, not yet, because we still have some more important component that we are missing, and for this reason we are launching an open call for asking more communities to join our project. So let's provide some key information about our research project. This is, as has been mentioned, it is an Horizon Europe, a research innovation action founded by European Union community with a budget about 5 million euros. It is a 3 years project. We are now at first year of the project, and we are 18 organizations coming from 10 different countries, and bringing together a lot of different kinds of competencies, different kinds of expertise, and especially clustering some important stakeholder in disaster risk management, considering all of them as leading actors. First responders, we include in our consortium Red Cross and firefighters, municipalities, citizen organizations, knowledge organizations such as universities, research centers, international organizations, PME, geoparks, museums, no-profit organizations. So you can have an idea of this consortium also in this image. And our mission is to enhance societal resilience through holistic actionable knowledge generated with local communities. And for this purpose, we consider a multi-hazard systemic innovation methodologies in order to consider to focus on how we can leveraging heritage as a collective resource for community resilience. We consider heritage as an important component for focusing on methodologies, tools, digital, non-digital tools for supporting and for enhancing communities to increase their preparedness against disasters. So this is our methodology, that is, we have called it SIRI, Systemic Resilience Innovation Framework, that include adaptive governance, health and well-being, social economic resilience, social interactions, and inclusiveness, active memory, all important components for creating a strong resilience in communities. So we consider that the project answer to the issues of the moment. We have a world that is affected by many natural disasters, and also created by the climate crisis. So we would like to increase the all of society preparedness, as well as mitigate the effects of this kind of events, by considering how we can foster this kind of enhanced empowerment by using bottom-up processes. So working together with local communities in a multi-stakeholder engagement in order to create a sort of collaborative dialogue and with the common activities that way to consider the need to increase this awareness as a civic commitment of all of us. So we consider that the communities in our project play a role at grassroots level, and for this reason we have shaped our objectives in order to consider how we can improve also protective behaviors among population and creating a strong connection among all different kind of leading actors of disaster risk management. And we include citizens among them, because they should be active component of the collaboration. And so we would like also to shape, improve communication.
Buon pomeriggio, come ti posso aiutare?
This is Siri. And we would like also to integrate heritage in policy recommendation as an important driver for enhancing sustainability and preparation to disaster risk reduction. So why heritage? Because historic areas, both urban areas as well as landscapes in rural areas, have shaped the cultural regions throughout the world, and they are created the diversity of these important places, and they also feed the multi-layer interactions in diverse environment in time. And we can find this kind of diversity in our traditions, our cultural practices, our arts and culture, both in the past and also in the present way, in the current way to interact with our environment. So we can think that we can capitalize in this kind of important heritage of our places, our region, for creating, for empowering local communities, also to leverage their local heritage. So we need also to consider among sustainable development goals other kind of aspects, such as improving the gender equality and empower also women and girls, and we should also improve this important action for disaster risk reduction by considering diversity as a component of a positive component of our world, by learning by heritage actually that tell us about this rich diversity, something that should be played as a positive aspect that also can improve preparedness. And so Resilience implement this community center approach across the overall project by considering the need to improve knowledge about risk perception, to improve protective behaviors, and to try to better understanding also local heritage drivers. So for this purpose, we focus on different kind of activities, from the studies to field studies, with creating digital tools, soft solution, and focusing on policies and recommendation, but working always across these activities, as you can see here, maybe not exactly. Now, no, it's not possible to do. Maybe you can see now. Resilient core labs. That means that we work in the project with 5 real communities that are at the core of the target of our project, Resilience. I have a problem with my, okay. Maybe it is working now. So these are our, namely our core labs. That means that are our real communities at the core of our project. We consider them community resilience laboratories, and we consider that each core lab includes a network of relevant local stakeholders, relevant in disaster risk management, and each core is related with this framework, to focus especially on this framework, but is related also with some specific issue related with disaster risk reduction. So these core labs and their network work together with the other partner of Resilience project for increasing capacity buildings, co-design tools and solution, implementing preparedness plans, and contributing in a way to the implementation of the Sendai framework. And an open call for core associated lab will be launched soon, and please, you can find information in our website. So this is our community center approach that is related with these 5 pilots. One is in Turkey, Karşıyaka, that is led by a municipality, the municipality of Karşıyaka, and the focus, the main hazard is heat waves. And we focus here, and especially in by considering issue related with the governance of the management of the disaster. And this is the network. We have Trondheim, Norway. The main hazard is a landslide, and health and well-being is the main focus in this case. And this is our network, and Naturtejo, Portugal, where we focus especially on wildfires and the problems related with the small villages partially isolated in the case of wildfire. So the problem is promoting social interaction and inclusiveness. And as you can see, the network and Crete in Greece is related with earthquake and with the need to activate the past in a way. So active memory, because it's a museum, and also because we consider collective memories especially relevant for creating an understanding, learning from the past, with the need to improve our awareness. And the network, and finally, Femmes Ardennes in Belgium is related with the issue of floods and socio-economic resilience. And as you can imagine, the problem is also to consider cascading effects related with the disasters. All of these places and natural and disaster, as well as climate change related issues, are related with very recent events, and that has created an scientific knowledge, and we ask our core labs and the network to contribute to create novel knowledge to share with other communities in order to learn and to create a more prepared world around this kind of issues. So we can see here collaborative activities in Trondheim and Femmes Ardennes Network. We have created this kind of collaboration and interaction with all of them, and this is an important aspect of our activities in 3 years of project. And heritage is for us the main important cross-cutting focus for our activities, and also for considering how we can learn by local heritage, by the long-lasting interaction of people in places that have also created a local knowledge that is important to consider in order to improve, in order also to include this kind of local knowledge in our policies, in our tools for dealing with disasters. So heritage is important because culture of resilience should be rooted at the local level, because we would like to enhance public awareness, and also because we consider that heritage is also a important activator of communities, because it's something that is owned in a way by the communities. And so we our revolutionizing community resilience is now maybe more understandable as something that is also related with understanding heritage drivers. So this is our approach to revolutionizing community resilience. And as you can see by this timeline, we are here. It means that we are at first year, we are completing the activity of first year, but now there is an important aspect of our project, that is this call for core associated laboratories. That is a milestone for us that will, so the associated core labs will work together with project in the forthcoming activities in 2 years. So if you like to know more about these call for associated core labs, we are here the QR code to have a look at our call and to know more about our project. These are our target groups, first responders, policymakers, and public authorities, knowledge organizations, citizens, civil society. It means that we consider relevant also from the approach that allow us to go from research to practice and to in order to implement our actions and our approach in real world. And we provide a way, an approach to build capabilities for leveraging local cultural heritage for disaster reduction. And I would like to say cultural and natural heritage. As you can see by these images, we also include a important aspect to this. And also is important to consider that we are working together with the local communities to create, to co-create a co-design resource ecosystem for community resilience. That is an open platform for supporting communities with the state-of-the-art tools, digital tools for increasing in any way how we can support authorities, first responder in and involving as well citizens and communities as capable partners for disaster management. So in that way, creating resilient communities. This is our resource ecosystem for community resilience. This is mock-up. And as you can see, we are 3 digital packs. They include several tools, including for analytical monitoring, resilience toolkit, but also for supporting systemic community resilience, such as an atlas, decision support system, the multi-hazard early warning detection system. So we have several tools, and we also provide the soft solutions. That means we provide also a teaching package and also other kind of non-digital solution, because we think that is important to balance and to consider different kind of approaches, different ages, different kind of issues, also of people and also places, and different modalities for learning and for supporting community resilience. This is one of our tools. Now is a prototype. It raised resilience assessment interactive self-enabled that also include a gamification part, but also co-mapping, crowdsourcing, self-assessing the level of preparation. So they provide different kind of support in extracting information, and also in a way assessing the different kind of awareness, also at the individual level. We raise, for example, you can see, provide also information and also self-assessment about the capabilities of orientation the space that is important in the case of disaster, and also provide to include more information, to increase the information that we have collected. And we provide this in different languages, because the activities that we have that we are performing in local, our core communities are activities in the local languages. We consider English a passepartout language. I am using English with my accent, that is Italian accent, and sorry for my pronunciation, but all of our communities, they don't have English as a native language, so we use different local language for stronger collaboration, and we also provide the translation for our tools. So you can use we can choose in this case these languages, but we can include more languages if we will have or when we will have a new partner. This is another important tool, that is a core digital network tool. That is the tool for, also in this case is a prototype, a tool for creating the connection among different kind of core labs. So provide the possibility to cluster the communities, the local communities, but also to create a cross dialogue among different kind of communities, different kind of core labs and core associated labs. So we'll provide through this kind of tools also mentoring activities or for mentoring, for exchanging knowledge, for peer learning among different kind of target groups, and for interacting, exchanging information. That is very, very valuable aspect in the case of these kind of problems. So as you can see here, we have all different kind of issues related with our core labs activities and the learning mentoring activity that will be developed also by their collaboration. In our project also we have considered relevant to develop a focus on gender equality, as I mentioned, and we have developed also webinars and other kind of activities. We have developed and we will develop more in the next future. But in any case, this is our capacity building activities are especially an important, relevant part of a Resiliage project and include several kind of activities. For example, we summer schools focusing each year on different aspects. So we are Resiliage, and we are inviting you to join us in revolutionizing community resilience. And we have newsletters that you will find in our website. You can subscribe in order to be tuned and to know about our activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosa. Thank you to all our speakers for such insightful and inspiring presentations. We will now begin the Q&A session. So I invite all attendees to please submit your questions through the chat or the Q&A function. And we will address as many as we can within the time frame that we have. So if you have already submitted your questions, thank you. We will start, I think, with one. I'm going to read it out loud. The first question is about how to align the local heritage with disaster risk reduction strategy. Can you give some examples? Can all of the communities globally be regarded as heritage? what are we going to solve within when we're talking about involving heritage into disaster risk reduction? Rosa, would you like to take this question, or Irina? Rosa? Okay, the floor.
So it's not easy, every time that we focus on this kind of connection, we should try to explain how heritage is really part of our ordinary life. This is something that is not only a monument, not only something that we should protect. Yes, we should, but we must protect. But is something that also can increase our social cohesion, can increase our sense of community. This is a very important aspect in community resilience, the sense of community, the sense of place, the sense of the history. So it's something related with our living heritage, our special focus is something related with traditions. We had COVID not so many years ago, and what we did at that time, when we missed a lot of important traditions, a lot of important ways to stay together. So we started to deal with the digital heritage, digital culture, because culture is important for our well-being. So this is an important aspect, and we are trying to understand with local communities their important local heritage in order to consider this local heritage something that can engage people in discussing, creating a dialogue, creating table of interactions, and consider this important cohesion for increasing awareness. I hope that I answered. Irina, maybe you would like to add something.
Because thank you very much. There are like a lot of questions on in one comment. So I would like to pick on how to align local heritage with GRR strategies. Okay, so if it comes from like a technical person, I would guess, I mean, we need to understand well our disaster risk management cycle, right? And understand what heritage elements could fit in each phase of disaster risk management. So of course, we cannot expect that during the crisis, we would, well, like, yeah, there are just limited, well, I would assume, type of heritage involvement, and we will anyway focus on protection of heritage, like evacuation of museum collections, for example. And here, like, one would, if you want to improve things, there are trainings, for example, of how to train first responders, how to handle the art collections, how to pack vases, for example. Well, I'm really, well, picking an example. And here in Resiliage, we are focusing on another type, on another part of disaster risk management cycle, on prevention and preparedness. So here we see much more potential, well, on prevention side, so education, awareness, all these type of activities, for example, celebration, commemoration of International Disaster Risk Reduction Day each 13 October of the year, where there could be some community actions in museums, for example, highlighting in natural history museums, highlighting type of natural hazards that are there at the territory. Or again, referring to Resiliage, for these core labs, for case studies, we are working on integrations. The final product, one-off, would be integration of elements of heritage in preparedness plans. So this is quite technical. Well, you understand what's the preparedness plan and how heritage could be involved. So it will take us 3 years to analyze and to get for each of 5 selected case studies these updated preparedness plans. So again, for the point, understand well where are entry points for heritage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosa and Irina. We have another question. I think we have still a couple of more minutes time. I'm going to read it out loud for you. In some situations, we cannot save all the heritage. From your experience, how does a community choose on what heritage to focus its effort to safeguard and keep compared to where it's even pointless to try? How do these communities then learn how to deal with the loss? How do they find meaning in new forms of heritage emerging out of these tragedies? What kind of future research could you support them better? Thank you. Rosa, Irina?
What you this time, Irina?
Okay, let me start. Well, I guess that's, of course, a question to overall territorial management, and especially if we are talking about urban areas, but well, rurals as well. I would speak from UNESCO side and well, experience that I have, of course, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but like from UNESCO side, we will start from, and member states, so countries will contact us for, in case of damage and destruction and potential destruction of World Heritage Sites, and there typically, well, there would be many in each country. So, well, from recent examples, there were earthquakes in Turkey and in Morocco, and so member states are asking UNESCO Secretariat to provide mapping of World Heritage Sites, detailed maps of cultural, but also, well, natural and location of communities. But this is, well, very frankly speaking, so it's, again, it's about governance and it's about priorities and mechanisms that are put in place in each country. So here, I might maybe refer at speaking at national and international level, it's, well, again, mechanism and referring to Sendai framework that just state that, well, protection of heritage, and then there are certain guidance actually for implementation of Sendai framework at the national level, where well, global recommendation suggestion is to prioritize. And yes, and sometimes it's not, well, it depends on methodologies. And again, there are no standards. And for local heritage, I will give it Rosa maybe.
Thank you. The question is very complex. Thank you for this question because it is very interesting. I'd like to answer by considering first that when every time I say that we had earthquake or any kind of destruction, local communities asked to rebuild exactly where it was, how it was. And also in contrast with many scientists, because of the problem of fake reconstructions and so on, creating a lot of debate. But for the communities, this kind of heritage is related also with their own private memories and also collective memories. So I think that the prioritization is something that should be considered, also considering the understanding, the local understanding of heritage. I am a professor at the university, so I focus on history of architecture and on history of cities, history of environment, and so as you can imagine, no, there is a prioritization that is related with other kind of factors, but I also think that it's very important trying to consider local understanding and local prioritization. So we should consider this. I should discuss about this. And so for this reason, there is not one solution, but the solution should be shaped together. So for this reason, we would like to work on activities for co-design, co-create, co-managing, because is something that should include finally. I think that heritage finally is something that should include also communities and citizen understanding about local heritage, about cultural natural heritage. That is local because it's localized in a place. It is local because it is related with people living in a place. So another important aspect is that we consider heritage not only as something that we should protect, but also as something that is an activator of communities. This is an important aspect that is, I think, not well enhanced, not enough enhanced, and we should consider that is an important aspect also of interactions in a place among different kind of actors of a place, and could be very important for engaging citizens. This is an important goal. We cannot imagine, I think, enough at this important is, because in many places, we are not so aware, especially in Europe, we are not so aware enough about risk and disaster, because we didn't have a lot of distraction till these continuous events that we are having in recent period. So one of the most important objective at this moment is engaging communities, engaging society in order to collaborate for facing this situation. Not sure that I answered to all the question, but well, I hope that we can continue to interact.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you also, Irina. I think there are no more questions, and we are already due on time. So I would just like to give a big thank you to all the listeners and attendees to the webinar today, but above all for such fantastic presentations on behalf of Irina and Rosa. It was truly inspiring. I personally got a lot of new insights on how to face such an overall and global problem, such as natural disasters. And yes, thank you very much.